I never imagined I'd be the kind of woman to risk everything I had for someone at work. Yet here I am, admitting a truth about myself I can barely face. I did things for my boss that I would never have done for my own husband. And now my husband is leaving me, and worse, he's making sure everyone knows exactly what I did. It started so subtly, almost innocently. I'd been married to Chris for nearly 9 years. He was reliable, solid, a man who always had my back. But over time, our marriage became comfortable to the point of predictable. We lived life like a routine. Wake up, work, dinner, TV, bed. Safe, secure, familiar. I told myself that's what marriage was supposed to be. Then Ethan arrived, my boss. He was everything Chris wasn't. Confident, magnetic, commanding attention wherever he went. And when he noticed me, it felt electric. He saw things Chris hadn't remarked on in years. My hair, my dress, the way I spoke in meetings. His compliments seemed harmless at first, but they stirred something inside me I hadn't felt in years. At first, I convinced myself it was innocent, just admiration, just a thrill. But Ethan knew exactly what he was doing. Slowly, he crossed boundaries. A late meeting that became dinner. A glass of wine after work. A hand on my shoulder that lingered too long. And the worst part? I didn't stop it. I let it happen because I wanted to feel alive again. With Chris, intimacy had become routine. With Ethan, it felt wild, reckless, intoxicating. I found myself doing things for Ethan I would never consider for Chris, dressing a certain way, accepting invitations that went against every moral boundary I once held. Shame hit me sometimes, but the rush was stronger. For a while, I existed in two worlds. At home, the dutiful wife cooking dinner, smiling through conversations. At work, someone bold, desired, and untouchable. I thought I could manage both worlds, without them colliding. But lies have a way of surfacing. Chris discovered the truth one evening. I had left my phone on the counter while I showered, and Ethan's messages lit up the screen. They weren't subtle. They were explicit, undeniable proof. When I stepped out, Chris sat there, my phone in hand. The look on his face was unforgettable, devastation mixed with disbelief, as if the man he loved had died before his eyes. He didn't yell. He didn't throw things. He simply asked one question, voice trembling. Why him? Why would you do for him what you wouldn't do for me? I had no answer. The truth was too ugly to say aloud. I wanted excitement. I wanted to feel alive. And I had used someone else to chase that feeling. That night changed everything. Chris moved into the guest room immediately. He wouldn't touch me, wouldn't speak to me, wouldn't even look at me. Within a month, he filed for divorce. And humiliation followed. He told our friends, our family, even acquaintances. Everyone knew what I had done, and there was no embellishment. Everything he said was true. I became the woman who destroyed her marriage for a fleeting thrill. Ethan, meanwhile, withdrew. The man I thought was invested in me became cold, professional, untouchable. He moved on without a thought, leaving me with the ruins of my life. Nights are the hardest. Alone, I replay Chris's words. Why him? Why not me? I hate myself for not having a logical answer, because there isn't one. Chris gave me stability, loyalty, love. Ethan gave me a spark and an ego boost. And I threw away the real thing for an illusion. Now, Chris has moved on. I hear from mutual friends that he's thriving, going out, exercising, dating again. Meanwhile, I'm left with regret and shame. Looking back, I see our marriage for what it truly was. Predictable, yes, but also stable. Routine, yes, but also safe. Ordinary, yes, but filled with the kind of love most people search for their entire lives. And I discarded it for a temporary escape. I did things for my boss I would never do for my husband. And for what? A few months of illusion, a fantasy that crumbled the moment it was exposed. Now I am left with nothing but solitude, embarrassment, and the haunting echo of his question. Why him? Why not me? I'll never have a good answer.